Welcome to Unsolvable. I'm not sure if everyone works the same. I'm pretty sure they don't. Some people understand the elements, uh, what kind of power that the elements hold. Don't let what you're afraid to be consumed by you, because you are the most powerful version of you, right? You have your thoughts, you have your feelings, you have your body, but in the end of the day, none of those things are nothing without you. You are the emperor or empress of your reality. And when I talk about reality, I'm not talking about the world that we all live in, okay? That's a different realm. That I'll get into more detail about stuff like this, because I love talking about stuff like this. Like, this stuff blows my mind. The fact that we are born. Oh, I'm making a video now. Okay. So should I do this? I don't know. I kind of like it how it was, but oh yeah, we don't want you to see that. Laundry day. Okay. So, the fact that we were born innocent, pure, and literally divine, right? Like, we think of a pet, a baby, anything that is a baby. Doesn't matter if it's an animal, if it's a plant, anything that's newborn is just so precious and so beautiful to most people, right? To most people, I would think, at least to me, I think that that is a beautiful thing. Sometimes I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, I think I have been damaged in some ways where it's like, and when I say damaged, I'm not actually mean physically damaged. I don't think I really, I mean, I have been physically damaged before. I have scars and things like that. But I think emotional damage really does exist, and so does mental damage. And we are becoming aware of those types of damages that are taking place in our world. And I'm not talking about the world that we share, but the reality that we are in. So, oh my goodness, the verbiage of this, I'm trying to simplify it, but I'm also trying to keep up with the spirit guides and the messages that come through. Um, the reality that we all share is more or less not really real, okay? So we were born into a reality that we already existed in. So the reality that we already existed in, we just came into a new form. And with the new form, we have access to new sensations and it's really a whole different world. Even though it's the same place, right? It doesn't matter. It's just the fact that a 6 foot man and a 5 foot woman live in two different worlds. The fact that just their height difference gives them different perks and things, the way, an advantage or disadvantage, the way that us humans analyze things, because not everything is analyzed in a human form. A lot of things are actually not analyzed in a human form. But for our human self, people that are aware of just the world that we live in, which through our human senses, um, it, it's like a normal life, but in that normal life, it faces difficulties and challenges, and that is all. I think most people with the mindset that are driven, very masculine energy, and it doesn't matter if you're a female or a male, or identify as a female or identify as a male, or a unicorn or a dog, or whatever the case is. My point is that we are in a vessel, and gosh, I don't even want it to see. So we mutated to this, okay? A part of us has created this vessel for us to be here. And it's crazy, because even though we are here now, and in our single lifetime, right? People who actually live by the year, the day that we were born, right? A physical acknowledgement, because we're so complex that we give everything an age. Not only do human age, but trees age, trees age, animals age, water can age, food expires. You know, it's okay. It makes total sense. It makes total sense because, we ended up freezing food, so it's just a whole thing, the civilization evolution. And not one man created that evolution. It was literally a series of events full of joy, full of arguments, full of anger, full of love. All of these things came together and they are still here together. But yet, we see things from an individuality experience. And that is the form that I'm talking about, is that not everything is seen from one eye, one person. You get what I'm saying? So, this is why I love technology. This is why I love where AI is going with this stuff, is because it's creating a world without borders. No borderlines, no discrimination. The only way that these types of events are going to take place in, in the AI format is if our behaviors are allowed there. So, I don't think we understand the difference between the virtual reality life and the purpose of the direction of where self is going, not oneself, but self is going, right? This is kind of like the the body that we are inside of, I guess you would say, when you look at it in a skin perspective, right? Like, say our skin is healing a wound or whatever the case is, like it knows what it's doing, right? And all these little cells are little lives inside of us. And these cells, yes, they can get broken down to atoms and neurons, but the problem with that is we don't have a stopping point. We can always break down something smaller. Okay? That is the crazy part, is that we can break things down and there's always going to be new information that can be used to break down something that was already broken down to its simplest form. But we can break it down again, creating it a new form. And I know it's probably, for those who can understand it, it's for you. For those who want to learn about it, just keep listening, keep watching. I'm here to do a lot of different things just because that's what I want to do. This is what I want to do, but I can't just keep stopping and going and stopping and going. But I'll do it as I feel the need to. I want to kind of bring this all together and figure this stuff out, and but I also want to network, and I also want to be recognized and show myself in a different way that I know I can be seen as, for those who care. So, biology is definitely something that is important to me. The human body, what's happening inside my body as an environment, is something that's also very important to me. I want to know how I'm formed. I want to know what's not just the major organs like the heart, the lungs, all that stuff. No, I don't want to just know about the major parts. I want to know how the thing moves as a whole. It's challenging because I'm so invested and I want to get it right. But this is pretty much like a pre-draft of what I guess what I'm working towards and working on. So I need these types of information to be here for now, so that way it can be used for then and later. Even if it's not for me to go ahead and utilize it, I'm just a fraction of the overall, the overall movement. I'm just a little piece. Like I mentioned before, what we have right now was built and created, the civilization, from over time. And I read in this book, and it sparked a potential journey for Earth, right? We're gonna call it Earth because that's what it is, but I don't think Earth will be Earth later. So, if you're watching this at a really later time, I probably will be deceased from this body, but I'm looking at civilization, okay, lifetimes, because a civilization lives a lot longer than, you know, the human body. Like a human body, middle age is around 30 or 40 years old. A civilization can last for over hundreds and hundreds of years. So what I'm trying to say is that now that we have this knowledge that so many different civilizations existed before us, even though we weren't present, like the caveman days, right? The industrial age, the factories and stuff like that. And then, you know, I think there was a religion age, you know, and these are not in order. I'm not sure if this is in order, but um, we have the virtual tech. Well, I think technology was already always here, but it's more of the virtual world that is really kind of new, you know, from from the public as part of our civilization. And I think all of these things, from my perspective, because I don't have the facts, okay, so I don't want to be like, this is right, this is wrong. Anyway, sorry. They really do have a holding place into our self. So, not ourselves, right? Not oneself, but just self. Self is all cells and no cells at the same time. And that is the creator for me and for you, through me, you know? That's how I have my reality set up, is to see that we were created equally. You know, you have to have sex to get pregnant, and to get pregnant, you have to plant the seed in the ground, you know, in the earth, and you have to nourish it and grow it, and the seed will consume off of the nutrients that is provided from their co-creator. That's what parents are. Parents are co-creators. They're not creators. They didn't create children. Parents are not the creator of a child. Okay, you do not own a child for 18 years or whatever the case is, but you did co-create that child using your DNA the same way you were co-created by your parents. So that is a system that self has created for us. Self is not somebody, I mean, somebody like self is a person, right? The same way our cells in our body are not human, we are not self. It's just like it just doesn't work that way, right? But we are made out of those particles, and we can call self a lot of different things because self is really non-existent to us. We would never actually get to meet self. We are representatives of self. That's why I really believe that we are guardians of this planet. We're guardians of this realm, and we're guardians of our sanctuary, What I mean by what I'm trying to explain is that we are recreated into this world. So even though we have died and been reborn, right? And it's hard to, when we're looking at it from a individual type of life. When we think about it as an individuality, like if I was just to see it about like if I were to die, I would be dead and I would no longer exist in this body, and I would, you know, my consciousness and my body would be, eventually my body and my skin would disintegrate, and, you know, it could be whatever it is when I'm looking at it as an individuality, right? It can be just a blank. It can go to hell, go to heaven. I can be reincarnated. I can just not remember anything in this world in my lifetime as the person that I am. That's a rabbit hole, okay? Because we will never know until it's known. And unfortunately, we don't know how to die and live at the same time. Even though we're doing that in a microscopic way, you know, our skin is being shed. There are cells that are literally fighting for our body all the time. There's old cells that you know, are being consumed by new cells, and there's new cells being reproduced. There's new fluids going into our body. There's old fluids releasing our body. And because we don't see these types of things as living life force, right? Water to me is a real life force. Water is an existing component. It has a life force. Now, does it feel pain and have thoughts like words and things like that? Probably not. I don't think water can actually like talk to you and create shapes and things like that. But it does have a form, and it can also change form, which is awesome. It can adapt to outside, outside um, components or factors or, you know, forces. So weather, when it gets really cold, water can freezes. It has an evaporation system. It can turn into mist and steam and evaporate itself because it's lighter. And it has this whole system. Like, I'm not an expert, but very much um, I'm very much involved in these types of things, and I may not be or have been expressing it to the world or as a career or as as a title, or you know what I'm saying. Like, it's not like I'm studying it for a degree. I kind of tried that tactic, but that didn't work out really well for me, just because the way that my mind is functioning and progression, it's just not my best quality. I like to pray. I pray for answers, but I don't always get on my knees to pray. Sometimes I'm just in meditation and I'm reevaluating my mind and I'm considering different things and I'm simply just still. I'm still, and sometimes when I'm still, my body, to preserve energy and things like that, it's on autopilot. So it repeats similar behaviors, and it repeats. It doesn't do new things on its own. I would have to consciously decide to do new things. But when I'm really like in a meditative state, and I'm not talking about of just like, oh, laying down, going to sleep. I'm talking about an awakening, when you are invited to the gates, when you are in the gates, when you have been, exposed. And sometimes that can feel very challenging, because to figure that out about yourself, you have to be able to separate your reality, which includes your name, your family, your job, and all these types of things, in a way that you know that this is not just you. There's a lot more to you to learn about yourself. Not saying that these things aren't important, but I would think the reason why it takes that type of effort to be open to these types of things is because when we discover something new, it gathers more of our attention because we are trying to analyze it and observe it. So when your mind grows and expands in a way that's not really like larger or or heavier, but like a new skill, and when that new skill is developed, it can be used as an art. So a good example of this is new um new sights can do this, right? When you're in a new place, your eyes might be like, this is new, and it takes it all in. Or new um what is that called? New languages. So when you hear a different language other than your own, or even accents, it can take, it can take more, it draws more attention. So just because it's just new. New flavors, things that you taste for the first time. Oh my gosh, these are significant moments when you try new things, and you get new sensations. Um, of flavor, even if it's spicy or if it's sweet, you know, these sensations. The problem is we're just doing the same thing. A lot of people are just in autopilot, which makes sense because that is how we have to operate, right? It's like we have to do continuously the same thing to go ahead and at least be okay. If we're okay, we're good. That's where we want to be at. We want to be at least okay. If we're okay, we can manage. If something interrupts that okayness, we try to diffuse that and we try to fix the problem. So it's like when you're in a relationship, you go through a breakup, okay? Some breakups, you'll be okay, you'll move forward. But depending on how much you felt invested into that person, or that person was invested into you, or if whatever the case is, you might. Oh, I gotta get my laundry out. I'll be right. Hey, so I just decided to take you guys with me just because if I'm gonna be doing this stuff, I might as well do it right. Alright. I just put my hair up real fast. My hair's getting so long. So cute. Ow. Apparently I don't know how to put my hair up in little bunny, but we make it work. Alright. Where should I put you? I think this is a good spot, so. So right now, I'm pretty much just wringing my clothes out. I think in my past life, I was probably like, I think I did a lot of different things in my past life and stuff like that. Like, I think we all get a turn on something. You know, some of us were really like kings and queens, and others of us were pawns, and you know, I think we all get to be different things in our different lives. I really like serving people, especially men. I just love men. But, yeah. Sometimes things don't work like how you want it to work, but that's okay. Like, there's no reason to get angry at things, and you know, I mean, yeah, it's time consuming and things like that, but goddamn, can you guys hear all of that? But yeah, this is what I was talking about, like I think the next goal about Earth, I was telling you I read a book and it was talking about how like Earth is not going to